letting us see another beautiful day. Thank you for allowing us to be able to meet again to do the business of Granville County. Lord, bless our staff. Lord, bless our county. Lord, bless the entire nation. Bless those in flooded counties, Lord, that are surrounding us, Lord, that's touching us, Lord, that those citizens out there that don't have a home to go in. And Lord, that some way and somehow, Lord, that you let them know that you still the same God yesterday and today and will ever be, for Lord. Lord, let them know that you won't put no more than you can bear, Lord. Lord, bless our nation, Lord. Bless our president all the way down, Lord. Bless our leaders, Lord. Take care of us and guide us as we go through this meeting. That whatever be said and done be pleasing in your sight. These blessings we ask in thy name. Amen.
Amen.
Would you stand with me, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Commissioner Jay. And our first item of business tonight is the consent agenda. Oh, I'm sorry. I skipped one. Approval of the agenda. And we do have an addition to tonight's agenda. We have, under appointments, we have an item, we call it 11A, and that's Planning Board appointments for District 1 and District 5. So we'll be adding that to our agenda. Is there any other adjustments to the agenda for tonight? Hearing none, we'll call for approval of the agenda.
Move that the agenda be approved as presented.
We have a motion to approve. Do I hear a second?
Second motion, Mr. Chairman.
We have a second. Is there any discussion on the motion? In that case, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed likewise. Ayes have it, motion carries. And now we get to our consent agenda. I trust everyone's had a chance to go over the consent agenda. Is there any questions? If not, we'll call for a motion to approve the agenda. The consent agenda.
Mr. Chairman, I move for approval of the consent agenda.
We have a motion to approve. Do I hear a second? Second. We have a second. Is there any discussion on the motion? If not, we'll go to the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed likewise. The ayes have it. Motion carries. Public comments? No? Well, okay. We didn't have anyone sign up for public comments tonight. So we'll move right on to introductions, recognitions, and presentations. And we have a presentation by Congressman Brad Knott's office on constituent engagement in legislative matters affecting Granville County. Good evening.
There we go. We got it on there. Man, y'all move fast. This is kind of nice. I like this. So, let's see if our little picture is going to get up. Maybe not. Oh, yeah, there we go. That's what I like to see. So, Chairman Gooch, commissioners, staff, we all know who the real rock stars are behind this operation. Good evening, and thank you for the opportunity to address you guys tonight. My name is Jeff Hauser. I'm the district director for Congressman Brad Knott here in North Carolina's 13th. Now, I know we don't have all of Granville County. We represent quite a bit of you guys, as long as we give Oxford away to Congressman Don Davis. I may have run into some of you with my position with the General Assembly. I've been down there for the last 5 or 6 years, so I may have worked with some of you on some legislative issues. If not, your representatives that are down there in the General Assembly. So, over the weekend, many of you, or at least some of your constituents within the county, received that mailer from our office this weekend. What I want to do is come down and give you a little more detail on what our office actually offers, whether from DC or the district perspective. First, DC, they do flag requests, Capitol tours, and White House tours. Now, with the White House tours, get those in early. We can book about 90 days out. So if you're heading to DC anytime soon and you want to do that, contact me. We'll get you in touch with DC, or you can reach out to DC directly. Her name is For future purposes, her name is Claire Feeney. She will be happy to get you inside the White House or a member-led or staff-led tour of the Capitol Rotunda. Now, flag requests are similar to what we do here in the General Assembly. If you would like a flag flown over the Capitol or one that has been previously flown over the Capitol for anniversary or something just to have, that's also done in the DC office. And what we do here in the district is primarily casework. So what does that mean? So is we serve as the advocate for constituents when it comes to dealing with federal agencies. So the IRS, Social Security, VA, that's us. So you need a passport, that's also us. We've actually turned one around in 3 days, so if you're worried about it, we can actually get that done as quick as you can. We also can intervene when it's taking longer than an expedited request or just a normal process request. So get in touch with us, we'll help you with that one as well. We also deal with the federal grant applications here on the district level. That contact is me. So with obviously the passage of the bill this past weekend, as well as some of the restructuring of the grant programs within the USDA or the EPA, I'm your point of contact with that. Please feel free to get in touch with me anytime. We'll step through that, make sure we can get you guys back in with anything that has been going on or looking into more programs that have opened up. We also handle the Service Academy nominations. So for everybody listening here, if you have a prospective high school looking to go to one of the service academies, that goes through us. We have a packet available on our website that they fill out that has all these things that you would need to get through that. What happens is you submit that. We have a committee that we're putting together. What they will do is called a screening process, and they will kind of narrow down to who the best of who those applicants are. Those applicants will be notified usually around probably early November that they've been selected for an interview. Those interviews take place on one weekend, probably in December, and then when the portal opens for the academies in January, we submit those with the congressman's nomination. Now, everything I've described tonight, whether it's up that you can see up there on this graphic, can be done on our website. Simply go to knott.house.gov, as written up there, tap Services, and select the appropriate tab. The other two things that we also offer as a district are two contests. One is called the Congressional Art Competition. So if you have a high schooler around here that either lives in the 13th or attends a high school in the 13th, which you can, obviously we run more of that into Wake County with the way that district is drawn, but you can also have it here with someone who lives, say, down in the Creedmoor area, but goes to high school farther north or something like that. They could submit to our office an art that they have done. What happens is that gets judged by our panel. The winner actually gets airfare and a hotel for them and a guest to the ceremony of hanging the office artwork in the congressional tunnels that everybody walks by every day, and it's hung there for a year before it's returned back to the artist. The other one is the Congressional App Challenge. So obviously computer science is a big thing nowadays. That's been mandated in a lot of high schools. So if you have got a bunch of smart kids that know far more than me about programming something, that's what they do. You submit it through our website, and we also select winners, and we do things for that one as well. So the big thing I know you probably all are asking is policy. Policy is handled by the DC staff, but we are your first point of contact with that one. So if you have questions about legislation that's working its way through one of the houses, any issues with guidance coming out of one of the agencies, that's where you start with us. We can get you in touch with the appropriate staffer in the DC, that is where that agency or the issue is part of their portfolio, and we'll find a way to get you an answer one way or another. It may take a little bit. You know how DC operates at a glacial pace, unfortunately, for some things, but we will get you an answer or work trying on getting that one. So if you're any questions with that, start with us. We'll get you taken care of. So I'm going to keep this as short and sweet as you guys have been. Thanks for allowing me to come and speak tonight. Again, my name is Jeff Hauser. I'm the district director. All my contact information is up there, and I'll stand for any questions that I may or may not be able to answer.
Okay, thank you. Does anyone have any questions? I think everybody's good.
All right.
We appreciate the presentation.
Of course. Thanks, guys. I'll hang out. If you have any questions afterwards, come grab me, and we'll make sure to get them answered for you.
Thank you. And
Thank you.
Thank you for taking the time to come out and visit with us and give us this information. We appreciate it. Thank you. And now, next item on our agenda is grant matters, 25-26 recreation mini grant recommendations, and Mr. Carlton Thornton. Yes, sir.
Good evening. My name is Carlton Thornton. I'm the Assistant Planning Director for Granville County, and today I'm here to discuss mini grants for the FY 25-26. and what the Parks, Greenway, Recreation, and Advisory Committee, or PGRAC, has recommended for funding. But before I do that, I want to give a quick update to the 6th project that was funded last year. Oh, wait. There we go. So the first project is Butner. They wanted to add picnic tables to the Butner Athletic Park, and they finished the project in May of this year, and the price was $9,815. Creedmoor wanted to add a bench swing and recycled picnic tables to Lake Rogers, and they completed that project in May as well. And as you can see, the price was $15,124. The town of STEM wanted funding to add new equipment to Jack Day Park, and as you can see, they added a soccer net, soccer goal, I guess, not swings, but slides, a rock climbing formation, and they asked for $13,619. Butner Community Association, they wanted to add benches along sidewalks along Butner. They purchased 5 benches. They installed 3. So they're requesting an extension. And the reason why they have not installed the other 2 is because they was waiting for a sidewalk project to be completed, but that fell through. So they switched to waiting for the park in Butner across from Town Hall. They was going to do some work there, so they was waiting for Butner to do that, and they was going to install the benches there. But after further discussion, since that's not going anywhere right now, we advised them they need to place the 2 remaining benches, or we may ask for the funds back. So they're currently working through that, and they request an extension to September of this year. City of Oxford, they just completed their kayak, getting a brain freeze, kayak launch at Lake Devon. They completed it literally June 27th, I believe, so it's done. There's better pictures than that, but they came after I need to submit this, so I can provide better pictures y'all would like. But that's completed and done. And lastly is Toller Community Outreach Club. They wanted funding to revitalize the playground, add gutters and paint to the structure already there, and pave the entrance, the driveway entrance. Everything is complete instead of the paving the entrance due to weather and scheduling of the paving company. So they asked for an extension to July 31st of this year to get that done. And now for the grants for this year. 2 grants, well, originally 3 grants was recommended for approval. One of them, due to recent discussions with the Granville County Public School, we had to rescind that recommendation, so it dropped it down to 2, which is to expand Jack Day Park in STEM and to add a bathroom structure at Toller Community Reach Out Club. So for Toller Community Reach Out Club, they're requesting $19,000 to build a bathroom structure, his and her bathroom, and septic system. Now I know the committee has put a cap on how much funding a 501(c) can receive, but to $10,000, which Toller Community is a 501(c). But the advisory committee has recommended they get funded the full $19,000. They voted for it because if they can only get $10,000, they can't get both the septic system and the building constructed. So it'll be a partial project, and we would not recommend partial project for funding approval. So they're asking to increase that cap for them so they can complete their project. And this slide just further continues what I just stated, which is important because Toller Community, that park up there, is the only park within like a 15-mile radius. I think the next closest park is in Stovall. So not having a bathroom structure there can really hurt community engagement. It might force people to leave and go home, and they might not come back out to the park that day. You know, so it's important that, you know, we try to get that funded. And lastly is Town of STEM. They want to expand Jack Day Park by roughly 30%. And their reason for that is, I believe STEM has 300 new units within their jurisdiction that's currently in the building and planning phase. And either another 800 or 800 total within a 2-mile vicinity of STEM might not be in their jurisdiction, but in the vicinity, and they will more than likely utilize that park. So STEM believes more space is needed, and they're requesting $19,000 for that. And that's all I have. Any questions?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, go ahead.
I have just a couple of questions. As far as the Joe Toller project, Toller Community Outreach Project, there were some questions about their 503C papers. Have they got that squared away?
That is still being worked through, from my understanding.
Okay. All right. I had one other question, Mr. Thorne, a couple concerning the town of STEM. It's my understanding that their mini grant was for, not actually for expanding the facilities there or adding things. However, it was for the clearing of some land and inputting of some kind of pipe. And I just was wondering, what is the precedent of the county for funding projects that were not actually for recreational use? However, it may be down the road, but were just for clearing of lands. What's the precedent on that?
So I'm not sure there's a precedence for that, but from my understanding, talking with the applicant, is they're expanding the park and they're going to move, especially the soccer goal, into that open space. So they plan on actually using it for recreation still. So it's not just going to be open space and that's it. It's just they're going to move some equipment to that space so it'll be less cluttered. And then maybe down the line, they'll add more equipment to it.
Okay. With the county supplying the $19,000, what is the buy-in from the town of STEM for that project?
So I'm not entirely sure, but I have the project estimate sheet to get what they need done, and the total would be $32,375. So if they're only requesting 19, I'm assuming they'll have funding to fund the rest of what they'll need.
So that assumption, do you know for certain that they're going to add to that? In other words, we start the project, do we know for certain they're going to complete it?
I can only go based on what I've been informed that yes, but we know life happens. Who knows what's going to happen down the road? But from what I've been told, yes.
So the commitment is that if they get the $19,000 is to be used for a park, and that they will bring the additional $13,000 to bear to take care of the cost of what else needs to be done to make it accessible for use.
From my understanding, yes.
Mr. Chair, I've got some questions. May I?
Yes, go ahead.
Are you finished, Mr. Griffin? If not,
No, I had one other question.
yes, sir. Go ahead.
I know in the past, the town of STEM has received quite a bit of funding from the county for the Jack Day Park. And I'd just like to know what the ratio is of county funds that have been supplied for this project versus the funds from the town of STEM. Because what I would not like to see is I want the county to be able to help parks and greenways. However, I think this project should be a project of the town of Stem and not a project of the county of Granville. And so therefore, I would like to know the amount, the ratio that STEM has applied toward the building of this park versus what the county has supplied in the past.
I will try to get that information for you and relay it back to you. I don't have that on hand, but I can try to get that to you at a later date.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, I'm going to have to recuse myself eventually anyways, because I obviously have a involvement with the town of Stem as their administrator, part-time that is. So if I'm recusing myself from this, I can answer some of the questions that Commissioner Griffin had around the additional funding. This is a buy-in from the county. The clearing of the open space will allow the goal that was purchased last year to be moved into that open space. It's behind the cemetery. It takes you back fully behind the cemetery. If I've given you, I'm sure you know exactly where you're at behind the post office. The pipe, the driveway pipe that you're talking about was for the construction company to be able to get from the road to the clearing site without having to go through the fire department property and through the park existing. So they're going to put in a curb cut, for lack of a better word, a ditch pipe to have access point. And of course, nothing's free in this world, so there's backfill and things required for that. So that's part of the construction process. Carlton gave some pretty accurate figures. There is money in this year's budget. I know there's going to be some fence work done to properly secure the backside of the cemetery. It's like $7,500. There's an additional $14,000 in the budget this year, and I'm just going from memory for additional park creation. But you know, there's additional funds, and we'll get that for you for sure, buy-in wise from the town. That's never been, in fact, I remarked on the Recreation Committee Task Force that last year I think STEM was the only town that actually showed where they were putting in more infrastructure than what they were getting, that they had just done a portion, and Toller Outreach as well does, always goes above and beyond with that as well. But historically, some of the other towns put in, this is funded or don't, might be part of a bigger project, not to dismay that it might just be one portion of a project they're asking for. So the in-kind donation from the town may not be very evident, but putting on that other STEM hat for you. For sure on this project, I know 100% that there is buy-in from the town as far as financial contributions.
So I guess what I'm hearing, Commissioner Karen, is besides making up the additional $13,000, there's probably going to be an equal sum or above than what they're asking for to complete the project the way it's envisioned.
Oh, it's all budgeted.
It is budgeted within, but it's equal or above what is?
Yes, very much so.
Okay.
I had to excuse myself from Toller because I'm on the board of directors of the Toller. Just with about the 501c, papers and everything is the way that's in. I will turn his hand and wait for this to get back to us and everything. It's okay with it.
And I have a question for our attorney. With the Total Community Reach Out Club, are we in good standing to allocate this money on the premise that they're going to get the 501c3 straightened out before the funds reach them?
So let me make sure I understand that the 501c3 is not in good standing?
Hasn't finished being created.
Yes, sir.
Okay, we had filed, we filed 501c years ago. They didn't tell us, our attorney didn't tell us that we had to file another additional to the federal of 501c.
Oh, so they've created a nonprofit corporation but didn't file the 1023, the application for exemption with the federal government?
So we'd already done filed it now.
I think you can allocate the funds but not release them until information satisfactory to show the tax exempt status has been provided. That's something we can talk about offline in terms of the steps necessary to get that done, but they have two different types of applications. One is what's called an EZ application that should be quick to do if it's expected to be receipts under $50,000 a year for the next 3 years, if I recall correctly. And then there's a more complicated, longer process if you expect receipts more than that. So I think the board could allocate it but not release the funds until we showed proof of exemption.
Okay, thank you. And now getting back to business, it looks like since we have I'm sorry, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Jukes. In regards to Butner, why can't Butner buy the, what
Butner's like last year's.
the two benches? Or
That's just not.
two pending benches, have they been completed?
We discussed with them and they have till September to place those benches. If not, we will start the process of asking for funding back.
So they actually have the benches?
Yeah, they purchased all 5 benches.
But they haven't placed them
Placed 2
anywhere.
of them. They placed 3 of them, haven't placed 2 of them.
So I just gotta ask the question, why you ask for that many benches, you have nowhere to put them? So that, again, my problem is that we're spending money on these mini grants, and it adds up when you add them across the board, yet, and I'm not picking on the town of Butner, and it's just, but the facts present themselves that why?
Well, from what I've been told, and like I said, this is not the town of Butner, it's the Butner Community Association, but they had a plan. It's just because some projects fell through, they couldn't place the benches where they wanted to, so now they gotta reorganize, place those 2 benches somewhere.
Is their 501c in good standing?
Yes.
Anything else?
Just 1 second, because I know that each one of them had a little caveat with it that I just had a question about. Just bear with me, please, Commissioner Gooch. I'd like to vote on these, but I'd like to wait until we get the answers. That's where I'm at on it.
I agree.
Would you like to put that in form of a motion?
I'd like to make a motion that we delay the vote until we have conclusive information on how each of these are going to be resolved and prior to committing county funds.
I second the motion.
Is there any discussion on the motion?
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Just for my clarification, exactly which answers are you looking for?
Making sure the 501c is complete.
So for Toller.
Right.
Okay.
Making sure that we've resolved the matter concerning the 2 park benches for the association.
That was from last year. That's not a new mini grant. That's already been funded. The 2 new ones is to extend Jack Day Park.
We got 2 benches aren't being used, so that's my frustration. So what are we going to do about those 2 benches? You're just going to extend it, and then 2 months from now they can't do it again. You're going to extend it again?
No, we discussed, and they have till September, and if they don't, we're gonna start a process of asking for the county's money back.
And I apologize, Carlton, it wasn't the city, it's association with Butner. And again, it's good that these folks want to help and create these nice environments, but again, as we're talking about taxpayer dollars, people are listening going like, we're spending money, but all the I's aren't dotted and T's crossed. And it's just concerning to me. So that's the two. And I don't know how you resolve the second one, but I do know the first one, it seems like that would get resolved before we grant any money that way.
Okay. I have a question for our attorney, because the motion includes money that's already been granted, that there's a benches on hold.
So let me amend that motion, because literally there's nothing we can do about it. The money's already been spent. Am I correct?
That is correct.
So I don't know that county attorneys or anything we can do beyond that.
So this is for a grant that was funded last year and the money's already been spent?
But it's not been used for its purpose.
I think there are a couple of things that can be done. The grant agreement that should be in place for that would control how that's handled from last year. Either as was mentioned, the funds could be returned, or there could be an amendment for the grant to talk about its alternate placement for the benches if what was anticipated didn't come to pass with the actual greenway in question. If there's another greenway placement or something along those lines, I assume there could be an amendment to allow placement somewhere else. It would be equally beneficial.
So, Mr. Gooch, I would amend my motion, if allowed, that an options would be provided by Carlton in regards to how that matter would be resolved, and that the matter concerning the 501c be resolved prior to money being allocated.
Again, I need to refer to our attorney because you're putting the issue from 24-25 with the issue for 25-26.
You prefer two motions then? Would I be better off to make two motions, Mr. Wren?
I'm confused about how the matter from the previous year is on the agenda for tonight.
They were just updates.
So that was just an update.
I'll amend my motion.
Well, I mean, I can answer the question. I'm not trying to dodge your question.
It's an update.
Okay. Well, I think that's simply a direction, it seems to me, for the matter to be brought back to the board with a resolution of either amending the grant or requiring that the funds be repaid if they weren't spent correctly. I don't know enough about that situation other than it sounds like there were two benches purchased and then the plans for the greenway fell through. So I think there are a couple of options to deal with that, and you can ask staff to come back with a recommended solution to it.
I'm going to make a motion that I strike my initial motion and amend it to one matter that's concerning the 501c be resolved at John Toller prior to, did I say that correctly?
Joe Toller.
Joe Toller, excuse me, until the 501c is resolved. I think that's my motion.
Commissioner May has amended his motion. Do you amend, Commissioner Griffin, do you amend your second to that motion?
I do.
Okay. So we have a motion before us to delay funding. Correct me if I'm wrong. To delay funding the Tola outreach, community outreach funds until the 501c3 status is corrected. And this is not voting against the funds. This is voting to delay the funds. Is that correct? Okay, and we have a second to that motion.
Can I ask a quick point of clarification?
Yes, please.
Do we mean that the funding is being approved contingent so that when they show us evidence of the 501c3 completion, the funding can go ahead and be released?
That is my understanding.
Okay.
Is that
That's
your
my
intent?
that's the
making sure I
intent, is
understood
making
what
sure
you
the
meant.
process is complete so that we can do it all at one time.
Question.
Yes.
Are we also delaying the funding of the Town of STEM's project?
Mr. Mays, Commissioner Mays' motion dealt entirely with the Tola Outreach Club and the 501c3 status. Am I correct?
Yes, we made quite a mess out of this, so I'll make this try to resolve it, okay? And the funds are allocated but not released until the 501c status is finalized.
So let's make sure we have our motion correct. The motion is to fund but not release the funds until the 501c3 status is corrected.
Correct.
It seems to me that what you're doing is allocating the funds to the project with the direction that all conditions of the grant funding be complete, including the 501c3 status.
I think that's the cleaner way of,
These grant applications come with all sorts of conditions, and I think what you're doing is basically just directing that all the conditions be met.
so you're satisfied? Commissioner Griffin, are you satisfied for the second, or do we need to seek another second?
I'm satisfied for the second.
Okay, thank you. This has been a messy. No wonder they call it like making sausage. Sometimes it gets to be a messy process. But having gotten this far, is there any questions on the motion? If not, we'll go to the vote. All those in favor?
Mr. Chairman, I have one quick question. You're separating the two of them out, is that correct?
Yes. Yes, this motion is entirely to do with TOLA. The funding for TOLA and the conditions surrounding that funding.
Now, since they're split, Mr. Attorney, do I have to recuse myself from the Joe Toller funding?
No.
From the I don't, if it's a split motion and you're not voting on anything to do with STEM, I don't know of any reason you would need to.
Just checking.
Okay, we got that straight. But now,
I need to recuse myself.
Just,
from the TOLA, because that's the one you're on board, is that correct? Okay. All right, then, if we've got this settled, we'll go to the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed likewise. Ayes have it, motion carries. And now, my understanding is we have voted to fund the project at TOLA, for the TOLA Outreach Club, TOLA Community Outreach Out Club. We voted to fund it pending meeting all the conditions of the grant, including clearing up the 501c3.
and just to be clear, staff would not, we require, at least the practice has been to require proof of all of those things before any funds are released in any event. We have a grant agreement, and as long as everybody's doing their job, the funds shouldn't be released unless all of the conditions of the grant are met anyway. But this is clear where we know in advance that they haven't been met. It's better to go ahead and specify.
Okay. So we have put this matter to rest with the TOLA Community Reach Out Club. Now we move on to the second portion of this, which is the town extension, the town of STEM, the expansion of the Jack Day Park. Do I hear,
Mr. Chairman, I'd be happy to research the 3 to 5 years of budgeted amounts on the Jack Day Park for you and get that to you.
okay. So what is the pleasure of the board? Do we want to vote on it, or do we want to table it till we get more information?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion that we table the STEM project until more clarification and more information provided has been requested.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. Do I hear a second?
I second the motion, Mr. Chairman.
We have a second. Is there any discussion on the motion? If not, we'll move on to the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed likewise. Ayes have it. Motion carries. And we have sufficiently ground that. We've sufficiently ground that. And Mr. Thornton, we thank you. Thank you for your patience and your presentation.
Commissioner Gooch,
Yes.
on a separate matter that goes along the lines of recreation, is now appropriate time to talk about that, or can I wait to, it's not on the agenda, other matters? Or do we talk, or can I bring it up, or you refer I bring it up at commissioner time? Other matters, number 16.
If you want to bring it up under other matters or presentation by county board members, either one will be at your discretion.
Okay, and for your edification, it's along the lines of recreation and places in which our children can find access throughout the county.
Okay, thank you. All right, now we can move on to item 9, which is on page 77 of your agenda, and that's the Eagleview aerial imagery contract. And this is, okay, our county manager's going to help us on this.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good evening, Commissioners. Because several of the staff members who have worked on this project could not be here tonight, I'm going to briefly introduce the item and see what questions you all may have. You have heard about and discussed Eagleview on a number of different occasions. The product is designed to assist our public safety and tax staff. 911 operators, for example, can use the angled imagery to help first responders locate fire hydrants, doors, windows, and so forth when responding to emergencies. And emergency management staff can also use the imagery for disaster response and operational planning as well. Actually, some of the flooding this past weekend is a good example. You have very high quality before images that can then be compared to after images, and they will do extra flying after a disaster. That's part of the contract too, so that you have very, very good before and after photographs. When we last talked about Eagleview, commissioners had some questions about the structure of the contract and the timing of the flights. To clarify, this is a 6-year contract being proposed, during which Eagleview will fly twice, once in the first year and again in the 4th year. Commissioners also had questions about who would have access to the imagery, who would be able to use it. And so we've developed an access policy which defines which employees and departments will have access to the software and when. The data will not be publicly available. I hope these explanations and additions to the item are acceptable, and I'm happy to take any further questions at this time.
Mr. Chairman, I have one question.
Yes, go ahead.
Mr. County Manager, you mentioned that in the situation that we just had with Chatham County and Durham and several of those, that they would fly extra if needed.
Correct.
So I'm looking at it and it's showing 2 flights, first year 1 and then year 4. Now, if we have a natural disaster, hopefully not, but if we did, is that an added expense to this contract?
No added expense for post-disaster flights.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Then we'll entertain a motion. Do I hear a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I offer a motion that we accept our county manager's recommendation and authorize a 6-year contract totaling $253,195.20 with Seminary International Corp.
Thank you. We have a motion. Do I hear a second?
Second.
We have a second. Is there any questions on the motion? Hearing none, we'll go to the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed likewise. Ayes have it, motion carries. Our next item of business is appointments, and we've moved to our Board of Adjustments, and this is on page 83 of our agenda. Let's see if I can get there. And this is to make appointments and reappointments to the Granville County Board of Adjustment. The function and duty of the Board of Adjustment is to hear and decide appeals from and review any order, requirement, decision, or determination made by an administrative official charged with enforcing the Granville County zoning ordinance. This board shall also hear and consider any and all requests for variances and conditional use permits from the public at large and arguments regarding zoning district boundaries interpretation. The District 6 is vacant with the unexpired term expiring in April 27. The District 7 seat is vacant with the unexpired term expiring in April 27. And the alternate seat is vacant with an unexpired term expiring in April of 26. And I do not have an appointment for District 7. Does any, Commissioner Karen, do you have appointments for District 6?
Mr. Chairman, I'm off of social media, and I have not been able to find someone on the plain old street, so I need to hold that seat, please.
Thank you. And has anyone found someone for the alternate seat that's vacant?
Mr. Chairman, is that open to any district or is that something? Okay.
Is it? Jim, I guess this is a question for you. And the question Rob, Commissioner Wilford has is the alternate seat is vacant, and is it open to anyone in the county or any district in the county?
So far as I know, the alternate seat is open to anybody in the county. I'm not aware of there being any limitations on that. I can research that quickly.
Does anybody from all 7 districts can appoint one? I'm saying, appoint that person.
I think it can come from any one of the 7 districts as long as it's, appointed by somebody and the board approves it. And this is for the alternate position, right? Not aware of there being any issue with that.
So as it stands, we don't have any appointments for tonight. So therefore, we will have to move on to the JCPC. And this is to make appointments and reappointments to the Granville County Juvenile Justice Crime Prevention Council. The Juvenile Crime Prevention Council, JCPC, assesses youth needs in Granville County, focusing on status offenders. It helps plan and oversee community-based alternatives to training schools and delinquency prevention programs. JCPC also promotes awareness, evaluates program effectiveness, and identifies ongoing needs to improve outcomes for local youth. Currently, there's a vacancy for a specified member representing the Department of Social Services. DSS Director Latoya Toussaint recommends the appointment of Deputy Director Vanessa Taylor to fill this vacancy.
You need that in the form of a motion, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, please.
I'll make a motion that we follow our DSS director's lead and appoint Vanessa, last name, Taylor? Vanessa Taylor to the JCPC board.
I second the motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, we'll go to the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed likewise. Ayes have it, motion carries. And now this is our addition to our appointments, and this is for Planning Board. And we have a vacancy on District 1, and we have a vacancy on District 5. District 1.
Mr. Chairman, I offer motion to reappoint Mr. Allen Nelson.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, we'll go to the vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed likewise. Ayes have it, motion carries. And we move on to District 5.
District 5, I'd like to reappoint Mr. Blaine Holmes.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on the motion? We'll go to the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed likewise. Ayes have it, motion carries. And now we move on to our county manager's report.
This will be a very short report. It is now over.
Thank you. And our county attorney's report, is it?
We have a couple items for executive session for economic development and personnel, I believe.
Okay, thank you. Now we have our comments from our board members, comments and announcements. Tonight we'll start with Commissioner Griffin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to give a shout out to the citizens of Deerfield subdivision over in STEM. You know, several months ago, they came to the county with concerns over their road and how it was washing out. Unfortunately, the county was unable to help them because they live on a private road. I just want to give the commissioners and the county an update of what can happen when the spirit of our citizens will get together and do something for the good of themselves. Those individuals out there took it upon themselves to take the horse by the bridle and raise the money, and over the past couple of weekends have repaired that road and that bad place where they had a lot of washing away to a great amends. They've got a little ways to go, but they've installed a fence around it, a make-do fence. They've installed cameras in order to keep people from going down in there on four-wheelers, destroying the work they've done. And they have put a new pipe in and gravel and have really reconstructed that area to where I think it's going to be a nice project when they get through. So I just wanted to let the commissioners know and say a special thank you to those residents who, without any help from anybody else except for themselves, decided to take the horse by the bridle and take off. And I just want to commend them for that. The next thing is I attended the fireworks on July the 3rd over at Lake Holt. And I just want to say to all the municipalities and people that supplied donations in order to do that it was a wonderful evening. I have never seen as many people at one event in Granville County as I saw that night. Everybody was jovial, everybody got along. And I just want to say that the spirit of the community was alive and well that night, and I really appreciate it. And thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner Griffin. Commissioner Cozart.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. Just a comment of congratulations. I was so happy to receive the email today about the monitoring at our Department of Social Services, and I see Ms. Vanessa Taylor there, and very commendable. And I say that because I've seen a different side of that report. So congratulations, and please pass on my gratitude to everyone for the hard work that they did to do that. And the other is just commendations to our local North Carolina Department of Motor Vehicles. I had to go there to get my license renewed. Well, I needed the star license. And I'll tell you, that process was orderly. They were very cordial. The process ran well. They have put in place, I understand, some new systems of communicating, and it was just a pleasant experience. I really went there looking to have to spend a good part of my day. So I just want to say how grateful I am to them for making whatever changes they made so the citizens of our communities can go there and get out in a good time. So I commend our local DMV for the work they're doing. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner Cozart, and thank you for the positive remarks about DMV. There seems to be quite a turnaround there,
Yeah.
and we certainly appreciate it. As citizens, we appreciate it. Commissioner May.
Hey, Commissioner Gooch, I just got just a little bit to say tonight. Bear with me just a little bit here. First of all, thank you, Mr. Hauser, for being here tonight, representing Congressman Knott's office. Mr. Davis's office, I believe, will be receiving an invite soon, along with Senator Budd's office, Senator Tillis' office. So we want to make sure that everyone is represented, and more importantly, that people understand how to reach their representatives so that they have specific needs, they can go directly to them. And obviously, each of us maintain excellent relationships with those offices. One is which working with the congressman on our transportation task force, and there's some things we really need to work on regarding our airport, and again, local transportation and byways as well. And so we would hope to make a lot of efforts in those areas, and hopefully working with them along with our state legislature, hopefully we can see great strides there in the near future, we hope. Again, I just wanted to just talk about Texas and the tragedy there. And there's really no words for when something like that happens. And, it's just thinking for the first responders and all those there. God bless those families and be with them. And it's just, again, no words. And finally, I am so thankful for the celebration of July 4th. We live in the most exceptional, greatest nation on the earth. It was just awesome to be able to celebrate his birthday. I'm a proud American. And it's just our rights are provided to us and endowed by a creator, and that's unique. It makes our country unique. And so we were created by those founders who followed the Judeo-Christian values and founded our country with God in mind, and led so forth in the Declaration of Independence. And so for a nation that is ruled by the people and for the people. So just always, when we have these meetings after the 4th, I'm always reminded that when provided the opportunity to speak highly of our nation, highly of those that serve our nation, and highly of those that protect us. So God bless America.
Thank you, Commissioner May. Commissioner Karen.
Okay, well, the fireworks were great. No, I said that jokingly. They were great. So I think we were going to talk about the schools and from a recreational perspective. Were we going to do that during commissioner comments? We had other, or we're going to put it in other.
Yeah.
We're going to handle it in other.
Other matters, item 16, after the selection.
Just making sure. All right, so, all of you know, many of you were there, our emergency response ED department put in for a grant with Duke Energy. They were awarded the $25,000 grant for communication equipment. So that happened since our last meeting. That was good for them. And again, NCA&T folks brought a tour bus down to see what one of their paid-for people with our local extension agent, Wendy Tatum, Rockstar Tatum, with the Farm to Fridge program that she's got going on at the library. Very unique program, well utilized, a huge asset for the community. Of course, our own Charla picked the hottest day on the planet to go visit the Christec site. It was pretty cool. What it's become from what it is, still brownfield, obviously, but that building is gone. And it was a good tour to see where it's come. So kind of moving forward to see what it's going to be next is interesting as well. So if I could read my writing here. Oh, and again, the Tar River Land Conservancy, it's kind of close to when we last met, but they had a dedication of a new trail in STEM, and Pitcher Branch Creek Trail brings them to 0.4 of a mile short of 20 miles of trail currently open and accessible to the public in Granville County. And that's a pretty huge accomplishment. And I think that they've got even bigger things on the horizon. By my calculations and talking to them, it looks like they're going to double that if the county's on board with the project that they're going to be bringing forward. So I don't want to steal anybody's thunder, but it's huge things happening with Tar River Land Conservancy. Can't give them enough kudos. And to round it back out, the 3rd of July fireworks at Lake Holt between Granville County. Good to see the sheriff, made a great presence. Super good photo up there with the new TAC vehicle with the fireworks behind him, like a rock star. Anyways, but super good showing, lots of people, lots of good conversation. So, good event. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Karen. And when you mentioned about your being able to read your notes, I wasn't laughing at you. I was laughing with you because I'm the same boat. If it gets cold, I can't read it. So, sorry. Commissioner Jay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just one thing. I rode by this Northern Granville Senior Center yesterday, and it really looked good. And everything is really beautiful, and I think it's getting ready to.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Commissioner Jay. Commissioner Williford.
I'd just like to echo what Commissioner May said about the disaster in Texas. I have 2 grandchildren, 11 and 8, and one had just come back from camp. The other one went yesterday, so it kind of hits close to home. Both my wife and I were sitting there watching, and it was just, it hits real close. So keep those folks in your prayers. I also attended the Christex walkover. It was very nice and warm, but it's come a long way. Knowing that property for the number of years that I have, it's really been cleaned up, and they've done a great job. And eventually, that will give us another piece of property for some industrial development. And that's all I have tonight.
Thank you. And I'm going to go along with our county manager and keep it short and sweet. I don't have anything. Nothing that hasn't already been covered. Now we move on to item number 15, which is to to select the North Carolina Association of County Commissioners voting delegate an alternate for the annual conference. Some board members are scheduled to participate in the 118th Annual North Carolina Association of County Commissioners Conference, August 21st to 23rd, 2025 in Pitt County. A voting delegate and an alternate need to be selected to represent Granville County during the business session to vote on items that are presented before the membership. The business sessions will be held on Saturday, August 23rd, 2025 at 2 p.m. And the recommendation is to select a voting delegate and an alternate. Do I hear any volunteers?
I think it's been customary that if the chair is able to go, is going and willing, that we leave that honor to the chair. And I surely wouldn't want to cut you short, Chairman Gooch. If you're willing to do it, I'm ready to make that motion.
I'm ready to second it.
Does that also mean that the vice chair will serve as an alternate?
Well, in keeping with custom, that's the way it's been, of course.
That was dropped off the table.
Is that a motion?
Commissioner, you will be the alternate. I'm sure Chairman Gooch will be there.
Let me tell you, I know he gonna be there. But I'm leaving on my vacation. I don't want to hear nothing about Granville County when I leave. And I'll be gone for a week. Nothing about Granville County. Unless it's special emergency. Thank you.
Commissioner Jay is checking out on his vacation, so we don't want to bother him if we can help it.
Commissioner Griffin, Commissioner, who else is going? Yeah. Commissioner Griffin, are you willing?
I will.
I'd like to make a motion that our chairman be our voting delegate and that the alternate be Commissioner Griffin.
I second.
We have a motion and a second, and I won't object, although I want to. But I will not object to the motion. We'll go, if there isn't any discussion, we'll go to the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed likewise. Thank you, Commissioner Cozart. I owe you one. And now, any other matters to come before us? I think Commissioner May has a...
I do, Commissioner Gooch. Thank you, sir, for allowing me this opportunity. As we were going through the mini grants, as you know, one of the mini grants was for the Granville County Public Schools had a mini grant application for one and withdrew it because their new school policy doesn't allow access for safety and security reasons to some of their athletic facilities. And so as part of that, obviously that's not something we control. That's another board and body that control that. But I really think that there needs to be a broader discussion within Granville County about our recreation facilities that are open to the public. I do understand that we're working to get where we need to be at Holly. It's going to be a state-of-the-art facility, and it's going to be pretty awesome when we get to that point. But in the meantime, we have large athletic associations that literally don't have a place to play ball. I've said this dozens of times, and I'll keep saying it until we get the right thing done. We got kids practicing next to Highway 56 that if a foul ball goes there, and it's going to be ugly. And that's what they got. That's what they got. And we got to do better. So as part of the discussion, because I like to have a discussion quickly, is I'd like to get this board's agreement that we will get with the county manager and we'll start working on how we can work with our school system and how we can open up access to some of these facilities. I understand the high school football teams and the pristine game fields and things of that nature. Those of us who played sports and all, we get that. But there are other facilities, and there are some elementary schools and middle schools. And again, I'm really hoping we're at a point with Holly sometime this summer before the fall begins that hopefully maybe that field could have some access for at least some of the football programs that will be developed. But our kids shouldn't have to go out of county or wander around to get to fields. And I also bring up Commissioner Gooch because we've had this conversation before about the athletic field in Butner at what will be the old Butner middle school property on the corner there, with the lights on it. And again, I understand that these things will take some conversation with the school system, school security, all their stuff, but we're missing it. We got, we don't, not everyone's going to go to Gap. Not everyone's going to go out beyond Oxford to the ball fields there. Not everyone's going to go to Butner. We got a lot of people in the southern end. This has got anywhere to go. Get on this side get on the east side of 85 and it's not there. Creedmoor has a facility, but it can't be overran, can't be abused. So I would like to entertain some discussion on this board on just a mindset of how do we push this forward through the county manager to start working with our school system, and maybe there's some way. Because here's another thing we're going to get approached with, because I've been approached already, is our charter schools have access now and the ability to fund capital projects with local money. And I was approached by one of our charter schools in that regards. And so you've got to start looking at those kind of things and say, okay, they have facilities too. So I think there are some ways where we can meet a lot of needs, but I think there's got to be a collective community spirit among this board, among local recreation, including our cities, on how we can get some of these athletic associations access to some of these fields that are available, but for whatever reason don't seem to be available.
Does anyone else have any comments? And our county manager has been approached by a charter school. Speaking of just what you were speaking of, about the ability to get public funding for their schools, and that's going to be an issue that we're going to have to address at some point in the future as the drum beats louder on that.
Just a comment, Mr. Chairman, on the use of the school facilities for recreation. I think Commissioner May touched on this, an initial conversation, of course, between the county manager and superintendent, and then maybe a subsequent meeting with the school liaisons and the school board leadership to see what kind of concerns there are, to see if those things can be remedied and if there are ways to work out whatever concerns may exist. But I think that's a good start, and with the manager and superintendent, and then Commissioner May, if we could maybe follow up after that with the school leadership.
And I just want to make it clear, I'm not advocating for funding capital projects for charter schools, because we really don't have the money to. We don't have the money to properly fund our public schools, not in the manner we would like to. The funding is just not available, and I just really puts us in a predicament.
So I think in that regard, that I think we do have to look at it realistically, because we have to think every child, regardless of what traditional school or charter school they go to. And so with that thought process, we also got to look at how we can, both of us, be able to utilize each other's assets to benefit the entire community. And so you have to start there before you start about something much larger than that. But I think this is a good mechanism and topic and need, that if we can get in there and find a way, then some of those other things might become easier, or other ways to promote a means of supporting both charter and public schools.
Mr. Chairman.
Traditional schools and charter schools, they're both public schools.
Non-traditional, right? So it's a really sad day for me to come through this process over the years of trying to tear down these silos with the traditional public schools around public access. especially for outdoor recreational spaces that aren't gated, aren't locked, that are just sitting vacant in off hours on a Saturday afternoon or a Sunday afternoon or slap in the middle of July. The grant application that was pulled tonight was for a shade structure on a play space. It wasn't a grandiose athletic field that was going to get tore up by a bunch of hooligans coming and playing their sports. It was a shade structure. And the administration in the past has signed off on public access coming with the public dollars put into these mini grants for years. And now, because of safety concerns, we go back to walls again, that even though this was public money, that these structures, PTAs, PTOs, public outreach, bingo, whatever game they played to get the money, because it's not included in school funding capital projects for play spaces. These play spaces were paid for by the local citizens who don't have access. How crazy is that? And we've been down this path about trying to get MOAs and MOUs and gaining public access to public spaces. It's ridiculous. And it's really sad that we've come to this, pulling a grant, trying to give them money to put up something that would benefit the citizens of this community. And we're worried about locking it down in non-school hours.
Thank you. Does anyone else have any comments?
I do miss Commissioner Gooch, but I want to make sure that I use the appropriate avenue. Commissioner Cozart mentioned a conveyance in which we could, as a board, I want to make sure the board be in agreement with this. As to Mr. Cozart, if you could make that recommendation, I know it's not a voting matter, but at least consensus back to the county manager on how we'd like to proceed if the board had a consensus that we believe that there could be a path forward, and obviously have to work with our school board and our school system, and we want to maintain the relationships that we have with them, which are good relationships and working partners. But at the same time, I'll leave it, Mr. Gooch, Mr. Cozart, if you could form that in something, if it's okay with the chair, and then we could at least gain a consensus, if it's okay, Chair, and with some direction to the county manager so we know how to proceed.
I think it'd be good to get a consensus among the commissioners to forward to the county manager.
Well, I'll be happy to say, in the spirit of in all things, getting understanding, and that the board ask our county manager to have conversation with the school superintendent about the use of school facilities during off hours, and also as it's appropriate for the school liaison to join in that conversation at the appropriate time to see what kind of opportunities there might be.
Go ahead.
I agree.
Okay, do we have a consensus among us that we want to follow Commissioner Cozart's recommendation? If we have a consensus, then, we put it in the hands of our capable county manager.
And I do think on the second note that the county manager has been approached, and I have been approached for capital funding for charter schools. That there is maybe in one of our work sessions we can start at least seeing what that might look like if the board if that's something the board from a consensus standpoint. But at least we have to have those conversations. I think it's appropriate if they approach you that you begin a conversation.
Okay. All right. Are there any other matters to come before us tonight in open session? If not, we're entertaining a motion to go into closed session with a 10-minute break in between.
I make a motion to go into closed session.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed likewise. Ayes have it. Motion carries. We will reconvene in closed session in 10 minutes. Thank you. Thank you, each and every one of you, for attending tonight, and you're welcome to stay till after the closed session if you want to.